some warm up, then I get into some arm work. I tend to go straight to the bar for first position, second position, side facing. And then after some like brushing and kicking, toward the end of class, I take them to more leg facing or leg focused work, because I know they kind of want that last big burnout before they head to the mat for some core work and yoga / cool down. So what I found with the gliding disc is I started with the gliding disc, and then I took them to, which was their chair work, which in balanced body bar, which is what I teach. It's basically anything that's facing the bar where they're going into kind of a squat position versus that plie that we see, and they're going to be in that more parallel position because we tend to put the ball between their knees or we have the mini band around their legs. But I wanted to show you 2 ways to basically burn out the legs a little bit toward the end of your bar class. So the first thing I did was, as I said, the chair track with that gliding disc. So I had them put the gliding disc under one foot, and we started with just some lunging. So I had them straighten the leg that was on the gliding disc, slide the leg back, and then drive up so that their hips came together and they were using the leg that did not have the gliding disc underneath it. So we started with some lunges and lift and lunge and lift. I had them focus on keeping their spine upright, and then we stayed down for a little bit, did some little pulses here. I had them pull that leg in and out. We tried to even out those hips, pull in and out. And this is where the fun part happened. We stayed here, we started to reach that gliding disc out to the side. And the interesting part about it that I explain to them every time too, is that they are going to really feel that standing leg. The leg that's moving around actually isn't really getting as much of the work as that standing leg is. So we went to reaching out to the side, staying here for a little bit, and then I had them hold their leg out and sweep the leg back, sweep it back out. This one was intense, and I could really feel it in my core as well. And then, because I practiced the exercise before class. So try it for yourself so you know what they're going to experience, and then potentially teach it in your class. Then, guess what we made? We made a nice combination. So press the leg back, sweep the leg out, pull the leg in. We have 3 movements that we can work with in a combination. So I had them do a reach out, pull back, come back, pull in. Reach out, pull back, come back, pull in. And then guess what you can do after that? You can have them hold back, then pull in, pull back, reach out, reach back. Pull in, pull back, reach out, reach back. Those 3 movements made 2 really fun combos, or you could just stick with, toward the end, really burning it out here, really burning it out here, or just focusing on this. So much fun stuff. Also, what you may have noticed as I was doing that myself is my upper body started to work really hard. So you're holding on so tight as that leg's moving around. So really encourage them to be aware of that. So all that happened on that one side, then you take it to the other side. And it is just intense and exciting, but dynamic and fun. And so I really liked those 3 movements coming together to make those 2 fun combos. Then another song that I do toward the end of my class, which involves a ball, or if they're using hand weights that day, because you'll hear me in many of my videos say, I really like to use as little equipment as possible. For this particular class, I would choose either or. Either the ball or the gliding disc. And then for upper body, I would prepare for either the band or hand weights. And then maybe with the band, I'd ask them to put that TheraBand around their legs and tie it off so that they can do some bridging and all of that fun stuff. They can even use it for chair without having to grab the actual circular mini band, which you'll see in other videos of using that TheraBand as a mini band so you don't have to have a bunch of pieces of equipment. So that's how I tend to choose my equipment for my bar class. It's either one or the other. But here's just another option of that lower body intense work that you can do with a ball. If I'm using hand weights for the day for upper body, then I will put that hand weight behind their knee versus the ball. So you can always do that, especially if it's 3 to 5 pounds. And sometimes if that's too much for them, because that's pretty heavy for the thighs if you're doing a lot of circular motions and lifting, we want those hips to be stable. They don't have to have anything behind that leg and they'll still feel it. It just helps them to get that hamstring working a little bit more when they have something behind that knee. Okay, so for the hinging work, I'll face sideways, but a lot of the time I will have them face the bar. But that's another thing to be aware of if your class is that class that when you have them have the ability to put their elbows on the bar, they suddenly become really lazy in their core and in their shoulders. So we want to make sure that they're in basically a plank position anytime that they're at the bar doing that core work or that leg work. So sometimes side facing with the ball behind their leg can actually really encourage them to stay in their core and in their hips and in their shoulders versus falling into the bar. So here I am with my ball. I have it behind my leg. And I'm just going to show you a lot of the more classic movements in bar that we see. But what I'm starting to see in bar when the ball is behind their knee, but what I'm starting to see in bar is a lot of instructors, they start doing one thing, then they go to pulses. Then they go to the other thing, then they go to pulses. Then they go to circles, then they go to pulses. So I understand the layering aspect of it and how the pulses can really help isolate that movement. I'm not 100% against pulses, but I feel like it becomes a crutch. When we start to run out of ideas of choreography that makes sense and flows well, we just come up with pulses. And people like them because they feel it, but it's also not the best for their body because we need to help them move in the full range of motion. So here's the options I have them do with the ball behind their leg. And I actually for the most part always have them flex their toes here, because if they point their toes, they're going to be highly or much more likely to get a cramp, and that's not fun. So let's not let them get a cramp in their calves or their feet. Pull their toes up, hinging forward. So I help them identify where the other knee is, and that's kind of their starting point. So line up the knees together, everybody. Pull the belly away from the floor, and then kick that heel up toward the ceiling, avoiding getting that back involved. So I stay on the ground, or if they need to see me, this is also a really good position for them to see me versus if they were here. They'd be all over the place trying to find me unless I help them identify they can see me in the mirror. And not everyone's gonna have a mirror next to their bar, or if you have a bar that is more mobile, you wanna be aware of that. Two, you wanna be aware of where they can see you. So we're lifting the leg behind us, lifting the leg behind us. Then at the top, I have them squeeze. So it's a different movement, it's not a pulse. Squeeze the ball, release the ball. And I have them try to make it small, but very strong. So versus the bounce, 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 bounce. I'm working my hamstring a little bit here, but it's not nearly as intense as I intentionally squeeze my hamstring, squeeze the ball, and then release the ball. Squeeze the hamstring, release the ball. So it's really how you cue this as well and how you want that intensity to feel. And even though it's a small movement, how much you can get them to really focus on that muscle group. So that's the next thing. Then I have them lower the knee down, take the leg out to the side. So we start to introduce the second movement. Legs going out to the side, we can call those fire hydrants, all kinds of things. Hold the leg up, same thing here. Not pulses, but squeeze the hamstring, release the hamstring. Really big squeeze, release. And with the music, this totally works. They're going for double, basically. So it's 8. If the beat is like this, they're squeezing for 2, squeezing for 2, or releasing for 2. So actually it's a 4. That's a pretty fast class, how I was snapping my fingers. But pull it in, release it out. Really have them focus on that contraction. After we've held the leg out to the side, done the squeezes there, then I sometimes will have them take it into circles. One direction, the other direction. Then we can combine the two together. So maybe we take it up and back and circle around. Then back and side and circle around. But that can get confusing. So but that's a really fun combo you can have them do. Or what I've done as well, this is intense, and again, a lot of work happening on one side, so be aware as an instructor, if people are like dying, give them an idea. We only have one more combination, and then we're gonna be done with this. because they're more likely to fight through the next combo if they know you're almost done. But if you just keep cueing them through stuff over and over again in this position, they're going to give up. So don't let them give up. Let them push through because they know what's going to be, when it's going to be over. So my last thing I'll do here, which is really fun, is I tell them to really keep their knee up. This can be tough. We don't want them doing this guy. I want them to just externally rotate their knee, keeping their hips still, and then bring the knee back down. So we're opening and bringing it back down. Opening, oh, it's so intense. And then bringing it back down. So it's just that movement from the hip joint that they're doing there. That's usually kind of my finisher because it's very intense. And then I take it to the other side. So hopefully that helps. Of course, before you go to the other side, you give them a second to stretch, and they're going to need to stretch both legs because that standing leg is really feeling this as well. So I hope that helps you guys with some nice chair exercises you can do with the gliding disc and with the ball. I'll give you guys some more great bar choreography in different sections of class in the future.